You can show up to somebody's house party and the lights are all fully on. There's people standing around a dining room table or in a kitchen. There's no music playing. There's a chip bowl, some cookies on a platter, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the vibes are way off. This is not what I signed up for.
A man
'Cause
after my own heart. You get it.
there should be a fucking spread on that table.
Oh
Lighting,
yeah.
there should be music playing in that space that makes everybody like love it. Of course, naturally, a lot of the best parties, people stick around in the kitchen, and that's fine. And I was
Yes.
always like, why is everybody in the kitchen? We have a whole other house to like hang around in, like be out in
Mm-hmm.
the backyard, whatever. So I'm very much like cautious about that. And now everyone like coming into this role asks like, oh, the vibe director knows, he knows. It's like I've become the expert. People have asked me to like DJ parties for them. I don't mean DJ like I got a headset on and I'm spinning or anything like that, but just like control the music because a lot of people don't have their fingerprint on what's going on with music.
You're
And so
speaking to my soul right
they're
now.
playing like I don't know, Big Shiny Tunes 2 on a CD and it's like that's what's going on.
Welcome to Graphic Content, the podcast where we talk all things who, why, and the what the fuck moments along the way. Today's guest is the human embodiment of good vibes and getting shit done. He's a community connector, a walking billboard for joy and inclusivity, and a total powerhouse in the hospitality world. From running bars and hotels to now being the literal director of Vibe at the first Hard Rock Hotel in Canada. Welcome to Graphic Content, Luca Monti.
Hi,
Yay!
thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I know you're such a busy person, so I appreciate you taking the time.
I'm happy to be here and you're welcome.
So we're like recording this on July 18th. So it's like midsummer. How
Mhm.
has your schedule been? I know you're kind of all over the place.
We've been open now for 2 months now with the Hard Rock Hotel. You know, obviously leading up to it, there was so much onboarding and so much training and stuff like that to get where I wanted to be once we were in the actual space before we got to open up and get the spaces ready, get the team trained, get those areas ready and the vibes right. I was getting into a lot of like longer days
Mm-hmm.
and a schedule that I wasn't typically used to. And, you know, I just said to my husband that it's not always going to be like this. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Because, you know, I think he probably thought first, it's like, okay, I'm never going to see you now that you work there. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, it's not always going to be like this. I know a lot's being asked of me right now as we're leading up to that opening date. And then once I got that opening date, like, yeah, I started getting into a rhythm that like my schedule is it's a fluid schedule. It does obviously require me to be on site. I can't really work from home with this role. I'm just out and about all the time. People are always like, you're never home. And it's like, we just do a lot of things. We do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things. Like I keep busy and that's what I like to do.
But that's something that a lot of creatives can relate to. People who are in industries where you're building something, you're creating something from the ground up, you're at the, at the foundation of that new chapter of whatever the project is. And you really do have to give it a lot of energy. And sometimes, like, I've had conversations with Tyler to be like, especially with this project, I'm like, it's taking me so much more energy and time. And I'm like, this isn't forever, but I need to create that foundation. I need to put in the energy now so that later it can kind of run itself. But how do you manage that now, knowing that, okay, this is, I know the next couple months are going to be die hard for what I have to do to get this thing up and running and established? Like, how do you manage that in your own life?
Coming out of the pandemic, people just put their mental health first, more so than anything. And I'd love to see that. I'd love to see, you know, places of employment take that seriously when somebody truly needs to have a mental health day or
Hmm.
because, you know, being sick, you're not always sick. You could just be like really down in the dumps and that may not help you perform very well at your job. So to take that day off just to be like, I just need this day off or something. Mind you, I don't knock on wood, I don't have a lot of those days at all.
Yeah.
I feel like my life is very happy. I have a very happy life, and I think that kind of exudes in like my work, and people can just see that when I talk
Totally.
about what I do, that I'm just happy. It just brings a smile to my face right away. So I've put my marriage first. Like we do everything together. I keep that as like a huge priority, and with my social calendar, like there always makes time for us. And it's never just like long days, long nights, and then come home, go to bed, and do it all over again the next day without any sort of conversation about how the day was or anything. And I expect the
Mhm.
same for my husband too. So that's a good foundation that we've built, and I'll never let anything else kind of take over that.
Going back to the energy piece, you saying like exuding, you exude that like positive energy. It's a perfect segue to the title that you currently have. I don't know why I did this, but the title, because I was, when you're like on your resume or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But so you are the director of vibe at the Hard Rock Hotel. Can you explain a little bit what that means and how you got that title? Like, where did that come to be?
The title that I give that I was given, it was not something that was just made up for me based on my personality, based on like my past or anything. Hard Rock creates this for so all of their hotels have a director of vibe assigned to it, because vibe to Hard Rock stands for a visionary individual behind energy, and that's what the
Love
acronym
that.
vibe is. And it really means that you are the true person that creates that atmosphere for your hotel, for the guests, for your employees. And so when I saw that that was being posted, like I've been working for 100 Kellogg for the past 5.5 years, so
Hmm.
being on that side of the property, and always like when we made that announcement in April 2021 that we were getting the very first Hard Rock hotel in Canada, the press was going crazy. And of course, then the haters came out
Of
very
course.
quickly, as they always do.
Yeah.
Why would they choose London, Ontario? Why in that part of town? Like that, it's never going to last, and all that kind of stuff. I was still so excited because the two families that I work for that own 100 Kellogg and then invested so much of their money privately into that project of creating Canada's largest indoor entertainment complex, franchise the hotel, and the vision on that too. Like rather than being like a from the ground up new build, working with the existing historic property, incorporating all those aspects of the property, like concrete pillars, the floor is still the same. Like it's just like really cool charm of the building. And so when I saw them posting about this, I came from the hotel industry before I started working at 100 Kellogg. Actually, I should
Hmm.
just go back to say that. I was a director of sales and marketing. When the pandemic happened, I was so fortunate that I was not working in a hotel. And I felt so bad for those who still were,
Yeah.
because it was like no one's traveling right now and hotels were really suffering. So I thought like I've landed, like this is what I'm so happy to be part of this property, and they kept me working still, all that stuff. But had any people asked me like, "Oh, now that they're going to open a hotel, would you go work in the hotel industry again?" And I was like, "Can I swear on this show?"
Yeah, I literally opened with what the
Oh
fuck, like.
yeah. So anyway, I'd be like, "Fuck no, I do not want to go back into the hotel industry."
Yeah.
We obviously saw the revenge coming out of the pandemic, how so many people
Hmm.
wanted to get back to traveling, get back to in-person events again, and just do it like tenfold more than they did before.
Yeah.
When you take something away from somebody long enough, they want to do it like even more so. So I was happy to see that a lot of people who are still in the hospitality industry, which I still consider myself to be in, but I mean of hotels, thriving during that time and sustaining. Yeah, I would never have wanted to go back, and nor did I think I was going to work at Hard Rock when it was going to open up. But when I saw this position posted, I was like diving into a little bit more of like what the day to day looked like and what was expected in this role, and I really started gravitating toward it. And I
Yeah.
went to go talk to the general manager who got hired, who was actually a friend of mine, and was the one that actually brought me into the hotel industry years ago. But he was like the perfect person for the role of this general manager. And he was like, "Luca, when I saw I had to hire for this role, I thought of you right away just because of you and the way you are at 100 Kellogg."
Yeah.
Martha, who's my boss at 100 Kellogg, one of the families that own 100 Kellogg, we're very close. And he was like, "She would kill me if I stole you away from 100 Kellogg." And I said, I'm really interested in this role. I'm gravitating to it so much. I'm like,
Yeah.
let me talk to Martha and I'll get back to you kind of thing. And so I did have that conversation. I wanted to have the blessing from her because she always said, I see you growing with this property. And I always did as well. Like I was like, this is where I'm going to, retire. This wasn't just like a job for me that was like 5.5 years can seem like not like a long time compared to our parents who are in career jobs that, spanned like
100%.
my dad was at 3M for 35 years. And like, have I ever been at one place for so long? Not as long as this. Like this has beat the record now because, and that says a lot about what you do. Sometimes people float around finding themselves, and even when they go to school for career jobs and what they think could be a career, that could change. And I'm seeing such a shift. I welcome that, like that kind of like midlife that you think like, I've done this for so long and now I want to do this. Like, who's to say you can't learn new things, new skills, new trades, and want to like just shift? Because ultimately, what it came down to is like, where I work, I need to be super passionate about, or
Yes.
else it will feel like work.
You touched on a few things that perfectly sum up something that I recently came across. So you talked about passion, you talked about naysayers, and you talked about reinvention. And so a couple of days ago, I was watching an episode of, I think Crave just put it on. It's like Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown series.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so he did an episode on Detroit. And so because I live on the border of Detroit, I was like interested to watch it. And so this series was, that particular season was filmed in 2013. So when it was like dire straits for Detroit, completely different from what it was now. And the narrative that was being told about Detroit was, even in his narration of the scenes was like, like there's a lot of hard workers here, a lot of people with passion, but what is it going to look like in 10 years? Like, we don't know. Like, there's no, basically saying like it was kind of hopeless, like based on what was going on at the time. And now to see what it's become, they flipped the script. And so,
Yes.
you have people who come out and say, oh, like what is it doing in London? What's the hotel doing there? Blah 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 blah. Amidst all of that, even though there's a lot of noise out there saying the opposite of what is going to happen or could potentially happen, you and your energy and what you bring to the table is the complete opposite of that. And it's one of those things that, not to sound cheesy, but it's like you never want to dim your light because of others. You know what I mean? And so I find that you are like the perfect person based on what you're describing, what they were looking for, to do just that and to say, you know what, off, shut the up, and we're still going to do the thing and show you what is possible.
Period.
Period. So you've been working in hospitality for how long now?
So I got a BA in psychology,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to pursue it any further. It's not like I wanted to become a psychiatrist or psychologist or anything. I floated around a lot in my 20s trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I'm sure there's a lot of people in that position too, maybe even in the 30s or 40s, whatever. I went to university because I was the first of my brothers to go. And so there was a lot of pressure on me to follow through with that, even though I was kind of like, oh, I think I want to take a year off after I did a first year. My mom was like, no, you're not going to want to go back. So I did
That
it.
good old Italian crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm Italian. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah, I
So
get it.
part was just like, I almost like did it for them, like get through university. Okay, great. I graduated university, but now
Hmm.
what? So I went into retail, but in any position that I've gone into, I've always wanted to be like to move further. So never just be like that entry level, so to speak.
Complacent.
Yeah, even with retail, like I wanted to show how I was very quickly, and in the sense that like I feel like that leadership skill was like instilled in me. So key holder, assistant manager, manager, and so before I left the retail world, I was managing Aldo shoes for a good year and a half. Thought that that was pretty comfortable and everything, and it was somebody that said like you'd be really good as a server when I wanted to get out of the retail industry. And I was like, I never thought about that. They're like, yeah, you're so like you got such a great personality. I think people would like love that. I've been probably about 20 years in hospitality between like restaurant managing, bar managing, hotels, and then of course when I came into the hotel industry, I wanted to start at that entry level. With all my experience in management, I didn't want to just jump into a manager role right away because I wanted to understand how all aspects of a hotel work.
Hmm.
Uh, so I really appreciated that in like the restaurant industry. Like, they say like these key jobs that you get as a teenager, whether it be working at McDonald's or these kind of things, you kind of
Yeah.
understand steps of service and customer service and like
Hmm.
really truly kind of honing in on like guests' needs and stuff like that, or your customers' needs. And so, um, guest is what we say in the hotel industry. Customer is everything else. But yeah, they are a guest of us. And so, really, those things were instilled in me, and they are traits that I kind of carry on with me. It's like you never forget to smile and say hi to somebody and ask how they're doing.
Listen, I always joke. I say you can always tell when someone has not worked in the service industry, when somebody has
Yeah,
not been a server or a bartender or worked in a restaurant or whatever. You can always
privileged.
tell. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the way that that's like it's so I see it and I'm like, I want to be like, girl, relax. It's not that deep. Like they are a human, chill. And just that, that disconnect. So I understand. And I feel like your energy and what you bring to the table, having worked with so many people, you're saying 20 years of experience, you're dealing with so many different types of people, so many dynamics, so many situations that you're in. Have you had any like lessons or unexpected situations that have come up that you've dealt with working with people all these years?
Oh, there are so many to recount, but I guess to sum it up, it would be that like humans are unpredictable and diverse. So is
Uh-huh.
their behavior. Some people are really good listeners. Some people are really good at giving advice. It's like when you go get your hair cut, or women who get their nails done or whatever. Like you confide so much into that person, your
Yeah.
esthetician, just things like
Yes.
that. That it's
Oh
like
my god, yeah.
you're sharing like deep rooted secrets that you wouldn't even tell maybe some of your best friends or your family. If I have that ability that people feel like they can confide in me, like I use when I was bar managing as the example, like, so along the bar is called the wood. And so all the guys that would come and sit at the wood. And I just had so many people just pour their hearts out and tell me so much about them. It's like, and I just met them. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
here's a drink, and it's like I just put liquid truth in front of them, and for that I never really took that to, it wasn't like a joke to me. It was like, humans, they may come out to dinner, go out for a drink, but
Hmm.
ultimately they crave human connection. You never know what they're dealing with in their day, that for them to come out and just have like a bite to eat somewhere could be that escapism for them. Like one of the mottos of Hard Rock is take time to be kind. And I was so glad to hear that was one of the things, because it's just like I've always just been a kind person. And for some of my friends to be like, oh my God, why did you even give them the time of day? They're just gonna talk your ear off. And I was like, that's just how I am. I can't say to people, I'm like, oh my God, I got no time for you. Just that unpredictability of it, because no 2 days are ever the same. Just when you
Never.
think like, oh, I'm working at the same place, it's so mundane. It's the people that come into your business that make it unique and different, if
Hmm.
not the people that you work with. And I'm definitely not using where I work now as an example of that, because it does feel different every single day. And I love that.
I can vouch for what you're saying because I remember I went to a networking event in London and I went alone and I was like, I don't know anybody. I'm not from London. And I showed up and I was like a little apprehensive because once again, like I can make friends anywhere, but you gotta like put yourself out there, talk to people. And I bumped into you and it was like an immediate, like I felt safe. Like
Yes.
you connect, you're like, oh my god, Gio, how are you? And it immediately put me at ease. And so that I can vouch for all the things you're saying is very it's valid.
Thank you. Yeah, that's when we first met. That was a great day. And even at those networking events that I attend to often, as one of the things that I do outside of work, when I say like my social calendar is always so busy with things, but putting yourself out there like can be
Hmm.
hard for a lot of people. I look at myself because I'm the chair for the membership committee for the London Chamber of Commerce, and so at that event it was the Business After Five. I kind of work the room as like a leader, and that like I can see the new quiet ones that are kind of scared because you think, oh, I just want to be around somebody I already know and I can just talk to them and it's safe kind of thing. But like you really got to put yourself out there and get out of your
Oh yeah.
bubble, especially if you want to go to a networking event for business. It's like, well, talk about your business then. If you're
Yeah.
passionate about where you work, like surely that could be something that would be easy to talk about. So it's kind of just welcoming them and into that fold, especially. But in life in general, I've always been that person that's like, my husband's like an introvert and I'm very much an extrovert.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh my God, I could never do it like what you do. And you could just like go to any party and not be scared and like not just hang out by the a wall. Or I'm like, yeah, I didn't come here to hold up the wall at all. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm out there and I'm a social butterfly. And like, and sometimes I have to admit how it opens up for me is like somebody will just come up and I get the looks right away when I walk into a room, predominantly because of what I'm wearing. And like to say what I'm wearing, it's not like I'm like in the flashiest clothes by any means, but how I choose my personal style is like I gravitate toward colors. I
Mhm.
gravitate toward a lot of things that most heterosexual men would probably feel like threatened by and be like,
Yeah.
I
Oh
could
yeah.
I could never wear that. Like it's black, gray, navy blue, and that's their only color wheel that they have. And so when I walk into a business setting and I'm wearing a suit that's like lilac or something, like it's just
Yeah.
like I want to stand out in business because I know I stand out with my personality. And so at first, I get those looks, and then it'll always open up. Someone's like, "Man, I love that suit you're wearing." I was like, "Thank you so much." And like, I love seeing that too. If it happens, if it doesn't happen, but for the most time, somebody just needs to see that, like, okay, he's not a d bag, and he's not
Yeah.
just trying to like get attention, and he's not here to mac on girls. Uh, so he's a safe space and I could just tell him very honestly that like I love his style and a lot of men are like I wish I could pull that off kind of thing. And it was like, why don't you think you can't?
Yeah.
Why do you think you can't pull that off? Because society tells you that's not a color that men wear or what? Like I don't know. Like
Mhm. Have you always led with that level of boldness, like, with your style? Or, like, was there ever a time in your life where you felt a little pressure to, like, tone it down, not be so out there?
for sure. Coming into your own is a very unique thing too. When they say when you realize what your purpose is on this earth is like the moment that you're it's like your ah moment. High school, not a very good time for me. We are our own worst critics, and so I went through a lot of body dysmorphia myself, and not even like the confidence that I have now. Where it came from, I honestly think my confidence level stemmed more from once I came out. I didn't have to hide anymore. I didn't have to pretend to be something I wasn't. Before I came out was very much like try and repress and pull back from shining too much. And then obviously certain aspects of the hospitality industry like late 2000s, a lot of restaurants were not embracing tattoos, facial hair, cool hairstyles, color in your hair, things like that that were very much like corporate telling you, "Oh no, you have to look normal, you have to cover up your piercings, you have to wear sleeves if you have tattoos on your arms." And now I just love seeing the whole flip on that. And it's like
Yeah.
the more tattoos you have, the hotter you look, the
Yeah.
more facial hair you have. I love seeing so many guys with beards,
Mhm.
like everything. And like there was a time I couldn't have even any stubble. And like you'd have to go home and shave before you could come to work. I was just like, oh, I hate this. Like of that, I would say that was more like repression for me. But once I got into the hotel industry, this was kind of like my first time wearing suits often. Then I was like, started playing around with color palettes and stuff like that. And people were like, who styles you? Like, oh man, I love your style. Like, you got a pocket square that matches your shirt or your shoes. It's like, yeah, these are the fun things that guys get to do to accessorize because women get to do it already. And that was always the norm. But like, if I came across Metro before, that's great. I think I did before I came out. But
Metro, I haven't heard
right?
that in so long.
Uh, yeah, such an early 2000s vibe.
Yes.
I was a metrosexual male, which was a straight male that cared about his appearance and looks. And if I conformed to then that's what I was. But really, I was a homosexual man pretending to be something that he isn't.
When I was younger, like, as a teen, like, I was, like, deeply closeted. And growing up as a kid, like, before, I went through school and was, like, in bullied daily. It was awful. I was like a very like over the top like kid, like very, if you look at videos, you're like, that kid's gay, like for sure, like, flouncing around the living room, like very,
Yeah.
but my parents never put anything on me to make me feel like I shouldn't be that way.
Good.
And then going through school, I was like very quiet, very, because I was like targeted for being myself. So the parts of me that were me, I would kind of tuck away, and I kind of went mute for a good decade. And when I came back from Toronto and I moved back to Windsor, and I was going through some shit, and my mom was like, you know, there's a part of you from when you were younger that you had such a bright light about you, and that light was very dim for a good chunk of time, and I was kind of worried that Geo who you were at the beginning would never come back, and was kind of like lost. And then I found my way back, and then once I came out, I was like, I'm f***ing gay, like I was like so over the top and kind of made up for lost time. And now now it's balanced out, but I'm at the point now where I see that like this, I mean, it's completely changed now. Like it's very different. Obviously there's the societal wars that are happening that are affecting a lot of people. But to me, when I see people who are just like, I don't care, I'm going to live myself, like my truth, whatever that is, and be me 110%, I'm like, go for it. Because what we have one life, what are we doing? Why are we allowing, going back to the original comment about the naysayers, why are we going to shut down parts of ourselves for others when and those are the people that are like the most miserable.
Yes, for sure. I got a little emotional there as you were
Oh,
telling that story for you, because like of knowing that feeling. So I got a little misty eyed. I'm okay now. All right, carry on.
it's true. Like it's some we try to forget. I try to forget it. I'm like, I pass off the like, I'm fine. Like things are fine. It's like, but when you really sit in that feeling, you're like, yeah, it was not fine. Like you kind of just like pass over it and try to move on.
Yeah,
You know,
gays have the
but
thickest skin.
oh, 100, and that's why we're kind of like
Maybe
sad.
Italians too. Italian
That's
kids.
the double whammy, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm glad we can relate. I'm like, what it's like. It's like constant.
yeah, for sure.
I like to believe that if you put out a certain frequency, you have a certain radio signal, like who you are, the energy you put out, that's what you bring back. It's like attracts like, and like you've basically built a career off of that. So for you, like, what does creating a vibe actually look like from day to day at Hard Rock? Like, what does that look like for you?
The fact that I've been putting that out my whole life, but at least my gay life, that just came naturally to me. And so I've always said people who want to hop onto my wagon are there on the ride with me. And obviously those people, I'm only attracting positive people. It took me a while, probably in my 30s, until I realized I was like, this person's a negative person. Why do I surround
Mm,
myself with them? Every time I'm around, all they do is like talk shit about other people, gossip. Like it was just like uh suckers, like leech sucking of your life.
yes,
So
energy
I
vampire.
yeah, very very good. I only surround myself with positive people, and it took me a while to get there. And like now I can see red flags like crazy, where you know you meet a lot of people in life, and it's like some people are very much like, I have my friends and I don't need any more friends, but
Yeah,
I love bringing on new friends because I I click with people quickly, and as soon as I click with somebody that like gets me and I get them, it's just like, yeah, this is a new friend now. Introduce them into the fold of like my past friends and other past friends, because I have many circles of friends from different jobs that I've worked at, and like people who've like I met serving 20 years ago, and now we're like lifelong friends forever
yeah.
kind of thing. Just things like that we've all moved on. They've got families and like been part of their chapters in their life with their weddings and stuff like that. These are the people that show up for you all the time. And I don't even have to force it. It's just
No,
those that see me for who I am and want to be part of it. Boom, you're on the ride now with me. So getting back to your question about what my day-to-day at Hard Rock looks like with creating the vibe. So what I do at the hotel. So a vibe director, it's all environment. So when you think about being invited to a party at somebody's house and somebody's like, hey, you got to come. It's like, okay. I always had questions first before I was invited somewhere. If someone was already presently there. So we've heard the term vibe often, at least in the last 5 years. It's like, what's the
yeah,
vibe? What's the vibe like? You can show up to somebody's house party and the lights are all fully on. There's people standing around a dining room table or in a kitchen. There's no music playing. There's a chip bowl, some cookies on a platter, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, the vibes are way off. This is not what I signed up for.
A man
Because
after my own heart, you get it.
there should be a fucking spread on that table.
Oh,
Lighting,
yeah.
there should be music playing in that space that makes everybody like love it. Of course, naturally, a lot of the best parties, people stick around in the kitchen, and that's fine. And then I was
Yes.
always like, why is everybody in the kitchen? We have a whole other house to like hang around in, like be out in
Mhm.
the backyard, whatever. So I'm very much like cautious about that. And now everyone like coming into this role asks like, "Oh, the vibe director knows, he knows." It's like I've become the expert. People have asked me to like DJ parties for them. I don't mean DJ like I got a headset on and I'm spinning or anything like that, but just like control the music because a lot of people don't have their fingerprint on what's going on with music.
You're
And so
speaking to my soul right
they're
now.
playing like I don't know, Big Shiny Tunes 2 on a CD and it's like that's what's going on. It's like so anyway, those kind of things I take pride that like people trusted me with creating that vibe.
Mhm.
Our Christmas parade last year when I was with 100 Kellogg, like I got to make all the music for the float when we were playing it. We had it blasting, and it was just like all that feel good Christmas stuff. No Silent Night can be in there. Like my friend's baby's baptism party when we all got together and like it was all adults. You play to your crowd. It's like, hey, we're playing all early '90s stuff because people love that
Yeah.
'90s hip hop R&B stuff. You just know who your crowd is, and so when I introduce myself out in the public of what my role is, and they're like, or people already knew and been following my journey from 100 Kellogg to Hard Rock, and they're like, man, they picked the right person for the job. And it just feels so good to hear that from other people who don't even really know me well, but just
Mhm.
see what I put out there in the world to say, like, you are a vibe. You
Yeah.
yourself are a walking vibe.
Yeah.
So at Hard Rock, what happens in the morning versus the evening, like, after 5 o'clock, now lights are going to come down in certain areas, our lounge, our lobby lounge, the restaurants, the rock shop. I help curate the playlists that play in the different zones of the hotel. So that to me was like probably one of the biggest things
That's
that
so
spoke to
fun.
me because during my interview, I was like, if I were to open up my phone right now, I've got playlists for every mood, like patio chill night, late night drive, early morning getting ready in the shower. Like I just have like brunch, like all these different things, like playlists. And so depending on how you're feeling and your mood, now I have a playlist for that. So helping shape those zones of the hotel, like what's playing in the restaurant right now at breakfast is different than what's playing in the lobby lounge, is different than what's playing in the pool area, it's different than what's playing in the
Yeah,
gym. The vibe can't be the same in the entire hotel. Like
because
it
it's
changes
not.
in the different spaces you're in, and that's for everything in life. So another big thing that really resonated with me was booking all the live entertainment for the
Yeah.
hotel because that truly is creating a vibe amongst the guests and live music. People just that like they're attracted to it like catnip. Like it's just like hearing somebody like playing live music, you're like, oh, where's that coming from, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we've got three unique areas within the hotel. Also, the kind of music like I really appreciate unique and not just the norm of like somebody with a guitar kind of thing singing. Different instruments that really speak to me. Saxophone, I'm really loving, and so we have a speakeasy in our basement of our hotel
Yeah,
that is very
I've
sexy.
been. Very nice. I love it down there.
Yeah, so to have a vibe like that play down there, and this guy, it's not your tradition. It's not like Kenny G. He's playing like The Weekend. He's playing Drake on saxophone. Songs that you're like, I know this song. That's Hotline Bling, but it's through saxophone. Like
Mhm.
it's such a sexy sound down there. Wanting a DJ that spins vinyl because that's such a lost art. You don't see that anymore. It's all no offense to any DJs with a laptop that is pressing buttons and stuff like that. I just feel like being able to not have a set playlist when you come into a space and play to who you have. And maybe that night we're doing a Motown night or a soul
Mhm.
funk night. And
Oh,
like,
the
oh, I got
best.
a perfect record I'm gonna put on for that. And now we've got this other one, and you go right into the next one. Like people love seeing that stuff. I really want to foster that relationship with live music, and I love seeing a lot of musicians that have gone fully in since coming out of the pandemic, because I've worked for some awful bars in the past that, it was like, I can give you guys $100 and a beer to play, and like they would do that. Or for a lot of people played free for exposure. It's like it's not about
Yeah.
exposure anymore. What you're asked for is what you're worth, and no one should talk you down from that. We have a huge memorabilia collection within the hotel. All Hard Rocks, whether you're a cafe, a casino, hotel, have memorabilia because they are the largest memorabilia collector of music in the world, more than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have over 100,000 pieces. So, because
Wow.
we're the first Canadian property, it's heavier on the Canadian influence for artists. And so, curating the tours for that with guests that want to come see that, you don't have to be a guest of the hotel. Uh, we do those two times a day, and then just the collection itself, and just coming up with that whole tour, the talking points about it, because it's more than just looking at something and reading the plaque. There's stories behind it, why it was chose for our property. There's ties to London, Ontario. There's like really cool correlations of why we have two different artists together when one's American and one's Canadian. Why do they put those two in a case, kind of thing? So I do oversee the Rock Shop, which is our retail store there that has all of the merch, uh, which, no other hotel that you've gone to, I can't say anyone would be like, I want to get a T-shirt that I stayed at the DoubleTree or at a Marriott. Like, it's just not like that. But the Hard Rock brand
Yeah.
is so cool that
It's
people
stamped.
love
Yeah.
representing the brand, and it's on so many cool pieces. It's not just like cheesy things like lanyards and that kind of stuff. It's not like
Hmm.
you're going to a trade show by any means, but like really cool fashion pieces that you're like, I love representing that. We have the very first Hard Rock Hotel in Canada, right here in London, Ontario. So we see it from a local point where people love representing the brand, that this iconic brand is now in their home city,
Yeah.
or we see it from guests of the hotel before they check out, that they want something to remember their stay by, that they were there, whether it be a t-shirt, whether it be a glassware, whether it be a keychain, magnet, anything of that kind of thing. So the creativity that's been given to me for like cool events to put on within the hotel, my passion can only go so far if there's no creativity for me. And I'm a very
Hmm.
creative person because I'm a Pisces. That creativity is like one of those staple traits of a Pisces, and I feel like this should be like the rule for anybody. If you can't be challenged creatively in your job, like I could never work. No offense to all those hardworking blue collars that worked in factories. My dad was one of them. The mundane day to day that's very repetitive.
Yeah.
I need creativity, or else I'm gonna die. I gotta go somewhere else.
Hmm.
So I love coming up with like really cool, unique experiences for our guests. So, and I love that Hard Rock was just like, so what ideas do you have like this month? And I'm like, wow, you're asking me what ideas I'm
Yeah.
doing rather than telling me this is what you have to do, like a
Yes.
very corporate kind of feel to it. So it's not like that at all. Out of all the directors on our leadership team, you got your director of food and beverage, director of housekeeping, director of guest services, uh, director of sales and marketing. It's very much like they all look at me like, you have the fun job.
Yeah.
You have the most fun position, but there's that invisible pressure on me
Of
more
course.
so than anyone, because if the vibe isn't right in there, making sure everybody's having fun is actually more harder than it sounds like, like
Hmm.
you can have music playing that's like, oh, I hate this. I hate this song, or I hate this. Oh, can't you just play country or something like that?
Oh
You
my God.
know,
Yeah.
you're not going to appeal to everybody,
You can't. At the end of the day, work is work. We have to, there's effort that goes into it. It's not just fun and play, even in creative fields. I can vouch for that. But is it not refreshing to look back at, like, within the last 20 years when you and I were entering the workforce,
Yeah.
to now the attitudes around creativity in the workplace and what it actually means in order to connect with their audience, whatever that looks like? There's a bit more of an importance on it. Now we see, there's budgets are being cut, and things are changing a little bit now due to everything outside of our control. But within the microcosm of our jobs, we get to be creative on a daily basis, and that's very, like, we can't take it for granted. And I know that you don't, but you're able to come to work and play. Like, that's something that is important, I think, especially in an age where, like I said, we see the pendulum swinging. as much as I want to say like I'm busy and I have so many like I have so much to do and I've it's I'm tapped a little bit creatively. I get to be creative in my day to day. So I try not to complain about it because
Yeah.
I'm not going doing a 9 to 5. I'm not having to wake up and punch in and do some mundane work, which there's validity in all work. I'm not taking it away from anybody, but for me, I speak for me. I am just not, that's just not who I am. You know, going back to that visual of the little kid dancing in the living room, right? Like that's who I
Yeah.
am. And so
Yeah.
I think it's so wonderful to hear that even though, yeah, you're working hard, you still find joy in what you do. Like you talking about the music, the lighting, the setting of the tone. Like, first of all, on a side note, you and I, we have to talk more because the way you speak about it, I'm exactly the same as you. I host a party and I'm like, I mean, this is also the Italian, like, right? It's very much in us. The spread is insane. I'm like,
Hmm.
the lighting is every room has mood lighting. I'm in a
Yeah.
condo and I'm like, every room has a vibe in it.
Yeah.
The music, I'm making playlists. If I go through my Spotify, I could show you what you said. I'm the exact same. I have like 15 playlists working for like so many different energies. I even created the cover art for all of them just
Oh,
so that they're on brand, right? Like with
for
the geographic.
sure.
And
That I
so to me,
envy. That I envy.
hey, if you ever need it, let me know. But like seriously, like so hearing you talk about it, I'm like, this man gets it. Like he gets it. It's so important.
Once I got into this role now, like some of my close friends are like, "Excuse me, Mr. Vibe Director, can you please curate a playlist for our weekend girls getaway?" And I don't even look at these as daunting tasks to me. It's just like I'm excited to do it. Obviously,
Hmm.
like I can only do so much at one time,
Yeah.
but I'm always like around music, so I'm always hearing things. So like, oh my gosh, this would sound so good in this and this and this.
Yes.
And I have questions that I ask them when I curating the playlist, like, okay, what do you want to hear? Are you looking for more top 40 stuff? Like, do you want to actually feel like you're at the beach? Do you want it to feel tropical?
When people compliment me on my music choices for events, like I've had friends like going to hang out with some of the friends in London and they're like, "Hey Gio, like it's they're hosting and they're like, "Can you put your music on?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely." I'm like, "Please, I would love
all
that
the
because then I could listen to
time.
good like
For sure. And I think they
this
think like I have to love all kinds of music, of course.
yes.
Uh, you kind of have to, and you kind of have to play, even if there's a genre you don't like. Like, I didn't grow up with country music, so
Mm,
that was a genre I don't really know so much about, and I've only really
yeah.
got into it lately because of like where I worked and stuff like that. And I know like the popular stuff to put on that people gravitate to, but like, will I ever go to a country concert? Like I only did once, and that was because it was Orville Peck, but he's gay and he's hot. And I
Hot
got
as
to wear a
hell.
mask, and that was my only country concert I've been to. But also, I love a lot of music that is not even radio or mainstream,
Yeah,
uh, because there's so much
tons.
amazing music that does not go to radio. That is like, you need to hear this. And even if you think, oh, I don't like EDM music, it's like, okay, but not all EDM music is just like oons, 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 jumping around and everything. And so to play certain artists for them and stuff, I'm like, and you seem like, okay, this is okay. This is EDM, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it doesn't all have to be about like that kind of stuff, right? So, sound of your stay is the tracks, wax, and picks program. Tracks means when they make a reservation online for it, they get their reservation code sent to them, and there's a QR code. So there's a playlist that's curated about all music that in and around about London. So music that is popular to people within London, and that sounds weird, but it's like of the artists that we have, because we are the only UNESCO city of music in Canada,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't know, and that UNESCO like title means that we foster a lot of music relationships with musicians in getting them where they need to be. But there's so much talent here uh, in the city, live music festivals and stuff that draw a lot of worldwide attention, like with Sunfest, Home County Festival, that kind of stuff. Um, so that playlist is on there, and they kind of get like a little taste. We've got so many local artists, and I love that we get to carry their music in the rock shop for people to borrow. And I'll get to that in a second. When you are in your room and you check in, there is a QR code on the mirror there, and you scan that, and that is your getting ready playlist that has been curated for you. So you want to shower, you
Amazing.
want to get ready, boom, there it is. The nice thing is people scan that QR code. They love it so much that they get to take it with them now. Now they have that playlist on their phone all the time.
That's an
Night
experience.
It is. In 1913, when we don't have live music on like the Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, like the vibe down there is completely different from what's upstairs, and it has to be. It's that very like sexier, think like music of like the weekend and stuff like that. That's just like the like bass heavy R&B kind of feel to it down there. They'll get a postcard when they leave with their photo because they take their Polaroid photo when you come down as a nice little keepsake memento, and then that QR code is there. So boom, they I love the music that's playing in here, and now I want this playlist to take with me. So
I love
it's
it.
kind of like sharing playlists for strangers, and if they
Mhm.
love it, and I get to see the metrics at the end of the month of like how many times that playlist was downloaded, that this one was downloaded. Wax is if you are a guest of the Hard Rock, at no extra cost, we can bring up a record player up to your room, and you can choose up to 10 vinyls, and we bring that up to your room in a nice case. And
Wow.
yeah, other hotels have like kind of like a digital catalog that you kind of look through on your phone and then just say, okay, you call down to front desk, can I get this, 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 and this? And they'll bring it up. But I love that they let me kind of like flip the switch. And I wanted that tangible feeling of going to a record store, flipping through the records. So I wanted that to be in the rock shop. And I wanted it to feel very much like, no, I want you to come down and choose your records first, and then we'll bring that
Mhm.
all up to your room for you. We've got such a great variety there, and I love that I got to help curate the vinyl selection that we have in that hotel, and I keep getting to add more too. And then the Picks program is again at no extra cost. If you are a guest of the hotel, you can. We have a catalog of different guitars that we can bring up to your room.
That's
And
awesome.
if you ever wanted to play guitar, have a jam session there, we bring your headphones, we bring you the mini amp, so you're not disturbing all the other guests. Really great guitars from Fenders, all the way to the creme of the creme heritage guitars, which
Wow.
for car owners is like driving a Ferrari or a
Yeah.
Lamborghini. So we want to make sure that who's asking for those are like true, legitimate guitar players, because to hold one of those and play them, most people say, I'll never be able to, because these are custom pieces, right?
Mhm.
Custom made and very expensive. Mixed media is so forgotten. Working at Hard Rock has definitely like made me feel nostalgic about that kind of stuff again and appreciating it more.
Especially for the hard rock. I mean, their whole ethos is around music. To connect people to music in so many different ways, whether it's tactile or digital or on your phone through a QR code, like it's like they're continuing their brand in the new millennia and then
Yeah,
also never forgetting the roots of where this whole thing came from, right? That's important.
for
And I
sure.
I love to hear you talk about it, like hearing you just discussing, because I have no idea. Like I haven't been there. It's new, so I haven't stayed there yet. And to hear about the 360 experience that you are curating, there's passion behind it, and you I can tell that you like love what you do, and that is so important. That's also why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because I love talking to people who are passionate about what the things they're doing in the world. If we don't have that, what the are we doing,
That's right. That's right.
the tagline of the podcast is, we talk to who, why, and what the moments along the way. Have you ever had a moment in, on the job or at work, managing an event or anything dealing with guests that made you think like, what the is going on right now?
There was an experience, I guess, as of lately, because I there was a lot of WTF moments when I worked in the bar industry for sure. But we have a speakeasy at 100 Kellogg called Pappy's Steakhouse.
Phenomenal. The food
Phenomenal.
there is so incredible. Like,
Yes.
go now. Don't wait. Go. It's so good.
So yeah, we have two unique speakeasy spaces on property, one at the Hard Rock and then one on 100 Kellogg side. So the facade of the speakeasy, and for those that don't know what a speakeasy is, it's a hidden bar restaurant behind a facade of something else, and that comes from the prohibition times when alcohol was illegal and they had to secretly get together in areas and drink and stuff like that. So what looked like maybe a bodega in the front, a variety store in the back had a secret door, and that's where everyone would be. So the owners of 100 Kellogg really wanted something like that because speakeasies are so cool and they're so far and few between, and the ones when you know about it, it kind of makes you feel like it's like exclusive and like it's special that like you know about this and you're going there because you don't really have to
Mhm.
take out a billboard or anything about a place like that. While working at 100 Kellogg and with when I was on that side, I was in marketing and partnerships. It had been many years since I had been serving in a restaurant, but when this place was opening up, Pappy Steakhouse, I asked again Martha, the owner, um, and it was named after her father. What would you think if I worked there like once or twice a week on top of what I do? And I wouldn't obviously let my work suffer for it. She was like, "Oh my God, Luke, I love that idea." And it's not like I missed serving tables or anything like that. I just knew it was going to be a very special place.
Mhm.
And like just see like the decor, like the vibe was there for sure. That old world style that you just don't see anymore in restaurants. Like, you know, when you go to Montreal and you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Europe when I'm here. It's like kind of like
Yes.
things like that that it transports you somewhere else as soon as you walk in. And so you feel like you're kind of like in like the Rat Pack era. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, the chandeliers from the ceiling, like the carpet, like it's just like everything that was chosen for that space was
Mhm.
beautiful. I started working there like once a week on top of everything else I was doing. And I did that for a whole year until I started working with Hard Rock and then I stopped.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning of it, and I think we weren't quite open to the public yet. We were about to launch the public. They let a friend of theirs rent it out for his 40th birthday. Okay, so there was six of us on that night, and you know everyone was going to be getting the same amount of food essentially. It's not like you had to take orders or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we had the tables split up in like three big groups, and everything in there is like family style. So we're going to put several things in front of everybody at the same tables, and everyone's just going to share like a family would pass the next dish over and pass that and put some on your plate kind of thing. So what could go wrong, right? Everyone got so blitzed, and they just took advantage and took ownership of the restaurant in a sense that like yeah it was just it's felt very entitled. It's like this isn't even your place and you're taking over. They got guys standing up on tables
Oh,
dancing and we're like you can't do that, and they're like we're friends with the owners, we can do what we want. And they brought in a drummer. He's like, this is the same guy that performed for Drake's birthday.
mhm.
And it just got very much like dancing around the table. Everybody's clapping. There was like throwing drinks and stuff like that. I was like, and like, I'm not even the manager that was working that night. So
Ugh.
it's just like, what, watching that and being literally being like, what the, this is a brand new restaurant. It's not
Yeah.
even open yet. I feel bad that I'm talking about it, but anyway, the restaurant recovered. Uh, Once we told the owners about it, obviously they were very embarrassed about it, and they talked to that person. Nothing was damaged
Yeah.
that night, but it was just the lack of I felt respect. You
Yeah.
know, so it's your 40th birthday. That means you get to act like an adult. I don't know. So
That's always crazy to see, and especially when you think I would put myself in that perspective and say, "Okay, one of my good friends is opening up a restaurant. I'm not about I don't drink, so I would never get to that point anyway, but, like, I'm not gonna jump on tables. That's a grown man. That's wild."
yeah.
So how did you
And
deal with it? Like, what were you in the moment, or you weren't there, actually, you said?
I was there. I was there, but
Oh, you were there.
I wasn't the manager. I was like one of the servers
Mm,
for it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, we'd all look at each other, and it was just like, I can't believe this is happening. We got to stop this. Like, how do we stop this kind of thing? I think it was like almost like watching like a train wreck, but you just couldn't get in the
yes.
way of it.
Yeah.
I remember talking to the wife of the birthday boy, and she was like, "Oh, thanks so much, guys. Like these guys haven't seen each other for so long. Like some of them they couldn't get to their weddings because of the COVID and stuff like that. So this is kind of like them all getting together and having fun." And I was just like, "They're on the tables." Like I was like, "Ah, this is what grown men do." Like I don't know. It was just like that was her rationale. I'm like, "Oh, thanks, babe. Thanks for like being so cool about it." And I'm like, I wasn't. Inside, I was internally screaming. Like I was like, "This
Screaming.
isn't even my place." And I'm like taking pride. I was like, "Why is this happening?" So I remember the manager had to interject, and then they got very upset, and then they they shut it down themselves. They felt that they were not welcomed anymore after they ate. And they end up like, all right, everybody just start paying for your bills. We're leaving. We're going to go downtown and party. And it was just like, wow,
Crazy.
is that what you thought this place was going to be? Because it's not a nightclub. So I don't know. There's a time and a place for everything, but it was that entitlement that just really bothered me. And I was just like, why? That would have been like my most, I guess, recent thing of like a what the, but
If I was the wife and my husband was acting like that, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be like this, like, oh, like, boys are boys, or let boys be boys or whatever. I'd be like, if this is grounds for like, I'm leaving your ass. Like, I can't trust you to be good in public. Like, that's crazy. That's literally crazy.
uh, but then like I don't know, people are enablers all the time,
Yeah.
and you know, in the hotel industry, we dealt with a lot of like parents from sports teams, and they are very entitled. They can be sometimes too. They think
Oh, yeah.
coming to a hotel, this is their time to get away, and their kids are playing hockey or whatever, and it's like, no, don't tell us we can't be drinking in the hallway. We spent a lot of money to be here, and it's just like,
Yeah.
really, guys? Like, it's just sorry if you're listening to this and you're a hockey parent, don't be shitty. That's my only advice to you. Because your
There's
kid
so
will
many
see
of
that and be
them.
shitty too.
Yeah, you're like showing behavior. I have
For
a quick
sure.
story and then we can move on, but
Okay.
I went to my cousin's soccer game a few years ago. And so these are like at the time they were high school kids. And my sister and I were sitting in the stands watching, and it's like summer or whatever. And it was some other school or some other, I don't know, division, whatever. I have no idea. We're on this side, and like all the parents from this team, and they're like commenting and, oh, like whatever, they're like upset about a call or whatever. And then the calling on the other side of the parents being like, "Shut the fuck up, or I'm gonna kick your ass." And I'm like, these kids are like 16 years old. Like, they are not international people. Like, let's chill. And to see that behavior from grown adults, I'm like,
Mhm.
what is wrong with people? Like, it is not that deep. Like, they're playing
Yep.
again, and then the kids are like looking up like embarrassed. I'm like, this is I would just like I sat there and I go, why are we here? Like, what are we doing? This is crazy.
I think of like how my parents would act in public, like always like prim and proper.
Yeah.
Uh, and like even that is a little bit of a fake persona too, because like then behind doors they're like screaming in Italian at you, or they hit you with a
Hmm.
slipper kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, why didn't you do that in public? But yeah, what you show your children, because they literally are sponges. It's just like how a father acts toward his wife, is like a way that a man might see how to treat women, kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
everything really correlates to their upbringing. Not that I thought we'd get into this conversation, because that's a whole other
Hmm.
podcast. So I'll stop there.
So we're full blown summer, like it's Pride season. Pride season has ended as far as like June is concerned, but I still am seeing prides in smaller towns. I know London's is coming up, or
We're in the thick of it. I love that Pride was celebrated so much with Hard Rock. So not really knowing that about the brand Hard Rock, they are very LGBTQ plus two forward, and like International Pride Month is huge for them. They want to make sure a lot of the hotels are doing so many things for it, and I use that as the example that I said before, that I was asked, so what kind of Pride events do you have lined up for your hotel? I was like, oh my God, you're asking me what I have lined up rather than just saying, this is what all Hard Rocks have to do and make sure this happens and this happens, kind of thing, right? Because a lot of corporate companies for optics fly a flag in June, and July 1st, that thing is down
they
and
pull it
tucked
down.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now Pride isn't celebrated anymore. And
Hmm.
I'm definitely not like in your face. It has to be in your face all the time. I'm not like that. And like, but I do think Pride is a, an all year thing.
Yeah.
We're lucky in London because our Pride falls in July. So for everybody that gets to go to Toronto and stuff for the Toronto Pride at the end of June, we don't compete with that. Nobody should ever compete with Toronto Pride. I love that all cities around the world like to hear like, Munich does theirs in November, and it doesn't necessarily have to
Hmm.
just be around like hot temperatures or anything.
Yeah.
Pride can be whatever you want it to be, and people will show up for it. So ours is in July, and we kind of have like a week long event of events starting from like Monday to this Sunday, and it culminates on like the day of like the parade is like what closes it off. So ultimately, I'm glad that the representation is there. Like this weekend, we are in Victoria Park at Pride Fest with the Hard Rock tent, and we're setting up like our pop-up rock shop in there, and we're walking proudly in the parade. And there's so many people that want to be part of that, and
Hmm.
I'm just so happy to work for a company that is very inclusive and really believes in all that kind of stuff, and not just for optics' sake.
No, it's important. And, you mentioned a lot of the corporate sponsorships are being pulled back, and we see a lot less of that celebration. From what I hear, like from what you're saying, like Hard Rock is still like standing strong with that. Talk to me a little bit about like that experience and living in that world where you have that backing of celebrating Pride, and like why is it so important in today's workplace culture?
For so many years, I think I was like the token gay guy working wherever I was working, whether I was out or whether I was in the closet. I seemed to be like the only one. And it's not like, if another gay person came and worked there, a lot of people have this misconception that was like, you're automatically going to get along great because you're both gay. It's like, no, it's just like you're
No.
both women, and did two women always get together, and or two men always like connect? No, it's not always the case at all. So
Yeah.
it is very much like what people bring to the table and what makes you gravitate toward them, that you would actually be friends with them. But I'm just so happy to see in our organization, like when I was with 100 Kellogg, and when now that at Hard Rock, that we have so much representation of people of all sorts of things, whether they be gay, whether they be lesbians, whether they're bi, whether they're trans. Like it's just like, and embraced, and not hidden. It's like
Hmm.
they've now taken the focus, and having people like this on your team, they are the most creative, that are the most friendly. They're not hiding anymore, so they can literally be their true selves. Those are the people that are like really excelling within our organization. You can just see the ones that are like moving up. A guy from food and beverage, that such a unique personality from the beginning, and just makes you laugh every time you're around him, and is very out and proud, and has now become one of the managers. It's just like to see. I think they know that a lot of people that work for them now, it's not such a minority thing. Many minorities come together and become the majority. So these people are not threatening in any way.
Yeah.
They're not coming in to like screw up your organization or
They're
anything. Just like,
human. We're all human.
yeah, it felt empowering to be given, specifically in my role, the creativity to curate really cool experiences for the LGBTQ plus community in London, to come out to, maybe even be used as an example to like other people. It's like, this isn't just something you do in June and then you just sweep it under the carpet and now you don't do anything again. When I
Hmm.
saw that events were attended well, it was like, I want to continue this. I would love
Yeah.
to do a drag brunch once a month. I would love to
Hmm.
do spilling the tea, high tea once a month kind of thing. And I think we have a market for it, that people want that. Because, after talking to some of the queens that we booked for it, I guess I was a little bit naive because I'm not so much into the scene. Like I haven't gone to a gay bar in 10 years. Um,
Wow.
yeah. And even when I hadn't met my husband yet, because it's been 10 years that we have been together since I met him, I never felt like that was my only option, was just to go to a gay bar to meet a man. I'm actually happy that that's not where we met. So for that reason, that I'm not in the scene, I guess I was a little bit naive about, I just thought all queens were friends with each other, but that's not the case. Everybody else in life, sometimes like you don't click with all of them, and that
Yeah.
they actually don't have a lot of safe spaces that you think. And
Yeah.
the one bar that they do have in London is kind of been canceled by a lot of people because of bad behavior toward the LGBTQ plus community, specifically with their performers. People feel like they don't have a lot of options now. And
Yeah.
so any new spot that you can make a safe space and let them know, like, it's not like you try to create a new hangout, but like just to let people know, like, this is a safe space. How it started with Hard Rock Cafe, they created, in London, England, in the 70s, they didn't want a restaurant that served different classes, because the upper class only went to upper class restaurants and lower class went to like lower class restaurants. They wanted
Hmm.
restaurant that didn't care where you came from, who you were all welcome kind of thing. So I want to say that's still part of like their skin and bones into everything that they do.
I love it. You're honestly a beacon of that energy. I truly, having met you, having been around you, talking to you now, I see that very much in all of that you do. There's very much like a mythos. A friend of mine coined on a term of that, where it's like all the things that you believe for yourself, you emanate into the work that you do. And it's really inspiring to see it. Like, I love, even in our, like, London's a small city, Windsor's an even smaller city. And to see people who are standing true to be themselves, are doing the damn thing, and are creating spaces for others to say, like, yeah, you can, like, we're all in this together. Like, I love to see it. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So we are nearing the end. And I know this
That
has
went
been
by
really
so
fun.
fast.
I know, I'm like, we're almost at an hour and a half. It's crazy.
It's like I'm catching
um
up with a friend on FaceTime, like that I haven't talked to in a while.
I love it. See, that's exactly what I love to hear. That's the vibe. See, I told you at the beginning, I'm like, it's like shooting the shit with your friend.
Hmm.
This episode is going to come out probably end of August, early September. If you have any insights into, like, what events are coming up, if there's any projects that you're working on that people who are listening can potentially attend or be a part of during the fall months, like, or later in the year, talk a little bit about that.
I like to plan things kind of like 2 months ahead, and like to go any further than that, it's almost impossible
Yeah.
for me to, because we need to see like what's coming in with our forecasting of seeing like, okay, how many rooms are. I can't see that far into like November to see like what's on the books kind of thing, and like that
Hmm.
number is obviously going to change. It's just like the weather. You looking ahead 7 days, if it's going to rain or shine is
There's
going to
no point.
change. Is going to change. So who I book in those spaces for live music, sometimes I almost shoot myself in the foot if something was going on within the city. Maybe I wanted to reflect and piggyback off of that and have that same kind of musical genre playing that week to celebrate that kind of thing. So I
Hmm.
don't like to get too far ahead of that stuff, but we have this unique indoor outdoor pool in London. We say that because all the side doors all completely open up. Like you're sheltered, but then it all opens up and the deck is all there. And, people aren't staying at the hotel for the view by any means. But when you're there, you feel like you are at a resort, and you feel like either that or you're on a cruise ship. It's just like the vibe that is within the spaces makes you feel like you are somewhere else for sure. And I
Hmm.
love hearing that from people. It's like, I don't even feel like I'm in London anymore. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So we get some great pool concerts, one being the Civic Holiday Weekend. We have a Latin band. Well, now that this is at the end of August, and they've already played, and it was so good. Sorry you guys missed it, but
Yeah,
that is
sorry.
something that is something we want to continue into the colder months, because it's cool that we can fake it and make you feel like you're at a resort because it's all
Hmm.
enclosed now. And to have like tropical music playing, all that kind of stuff, and you get to be part of it with the pool. And what a cool way to see a concert than just sitting at an auditorium watching a concert or standing watching something. Now you can be around a pool and there's like drinks and great people and great vibes. Um,
Hmm.
we want to continue with our high teas, and I know we're starting that mid August, where it'll always be a different series. The high tea is also something that was like new to me. I had never really heard the term until I really became gay. I was like, what is this high tea? People just sit around and drink tea? This seems boring to me, but like
Uh-huh.
it's bougie AF. I've gone to our friend's baby shower. It was a high tea at what was that hotel in Toronto now? Anyway, walking into that, I was like, okay, this place means business. And so
Hmm.
for us to do high tea, I feel like there's only one other place in London that does it. And so people do gravitate. There is a clientele, but I kind of want to change it up and make it not so old lady centric. That like that younger generation loves to come out for this, but like what are you selling with this other than
Yeah.
your three-tier trays of like sandwiches and
Cucumber. Yeah.
pastries and all that kind of stuff and your tea? What else are you adding to the experience? So spilling the tea was a cool concept we came up with because our lobby lounge is called the GMT, which is
Hmm.
the Greenwich Meridian time. It's actually GMT -5. So on like the time zone, like where London is. It's
Yeah.
just cool. So spilling the tea in the GMT, and everybody writes down, like you're prompted about like, okay, tell me a secret that you're holding of one of your friends, but you don't have to sign your name to it. Just like crazy secrets, and it goes in the teapot, and she reads them out, and everyone's just like looking around like, who said that? Like, it was just
That's
like,
so
oh my god,
fun.
it's such a cool concept, and it's pure comedy for sure. So like, it's entertaining to be part of that. So if we're not doing it with a drag queen hosting it, I'd love to do. We've got some musical artists in London, like spotlight series,
Mhm.
with local musicians that have their music on iTunes and Spotify, have a vinyl, that are doing the work and going out there and putting themselves out there all the time. Men can come to a high tea, and one of the guys coming up is a photographer that throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, whenever big bands came to London, Ontario, he was always the photographer behind the
Oh, wow.
scenes, published a book with so many of the photos that he had taken. So I think it'd be really cool to hear about his experiences meeting these people and maybe
Yeah.
some cool, fun stories like that. So, you kind of want to be entertained with your tea. So looking at a series like that we'll be doing often in our lounge, getting into the fall, stuff to do with like Halloween is obviously a big one for me because it's my favorite holiday.
Oh
And
my god,
so
fun.
our speakeasy becomes the spookeasy, and we got some.
I love it.
I've been talking to an artistic company that wants to possibly do a cabaret show in our speakeasy because
Love
it
it.
it's the vibe of the Kit Kat Club from Cabaret, and
Love
if
that.
that's something that can happen too, there's definitely a market for it. Yeah, stay tuned.
Honestly, it's so nice, especially because we aren't like Toronto, like the places that we live, to see people bringing so much culture to these cities where we don't have to go and travel far away to experience something that is outside of the realm of what normally happens in, like a Windsor or a London.
Thank you.
My final segment, let's say. So I asked this to every one of my guests,
Oh God, I was
and
young. I needed the money.
don't we all, right? I'm not young and I still need the money. So I ask each one of my guests this question, and this can be like life, work, personal, whatever. But if you were to look at your up until now, like what would you say is the most on brand thing about you?
My relationships with people
Hmm.
is probably the most on brand thing about me because like I have friends that have spanned 30 years. I have friends that have spanned 20 years. I have friends that span 25 years, 10 years. The one thing is the same is like doesn't matter if I've known you for 20 years or even 2 years. When I have your attention, you have mine. And like I put into it just as much as I always have. I kind of always wanted to instill that in with my husband too, because he's a bit younger than me. So it was like your relationships with your friends. I never wanted it to be like, oh, I'm in a relationship now, so I'm going to put friends on the back burner and not hang out with them as much. So, like, at least once a week, if you can reach out to like one friend to see if they want to get together to hang out and make it always like different than like you haven't seen that person in a while, that person, like, just keep establishing that connection. And when you get to a certain age, people, you don't have to rely so much on text messaging them, calling them all
100%.
the time, and when you see them again, you pick up right where you left off, like no time has passed. And those are the friends that understand that life is busy. They don't take anything personally if they don't hear from you in like 3 weeks. They're not
Hmm.
like, oh, are you mad at me? I haven't heard from you. What's going on? And always
Oh, the
doubting
worst.
kind of stuff. Yeah, so I don't have friends like that. So it's nice that all these friends get it, and then the moment we reach out to each other to do something, it makes that time so much more special. A lot of circles of friends that have come along with me for the journey that wanted to be part of it, these are the people that saw me through very much lows and all the highs, and are still there, kind of thing. And so you drop the people that weren't the true ones anyway, and
Hmm.
that just kind of naturally filters itself out. So yeah,
You and I have so much in common. It's crazy.
why don't we
Like,
hang out more?
well, because we don't live in the same city. But
Oh yeah.
listen, if people want to reach out to you, get in contact with you, connect with the Hard Rock Hotel in London or 100 Kellogg, like where can they find you?
Is this where I give my digits? What do I do here?
Yeah, like your like socials, like your Instagram,
Oh,
like whatever,
okay.
wherever, however you want people to connect.
It's funny, like I'm private on Instagram.
You don't have to give that then.
I know, but like I'm only private because I would let somebody follow me. I'm not one of those people like I want to have like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers because like
Hmm.
to me it almost seems cold, and like I'm letting you into my personal life because like what I post on there, and what I choose to show is just like it's personal to me. It's like happy moments, maybe even sad moments that I'm going through in life. So I don't want just anybody to see that.
Yeah.
And I do believe that you should at least introduce yourself to me, meet me first, and then you can go and add me. I'd be like, why does this person want to be my friend? They've never even met me ever.
Yeah.
Like that baffles me. And like if it's somebody that you admire or something that you're like, I want to follow them, I don't give them that option. And I actually think it's a bit like creepy to like not even introduce yourself to me before you try and add me. Like, so yeah, I'm on Facebook.
What about like the hotel? Like lead
Oh
people
yeah.
to follow the hotel. Yeah. It doesn't have to be you.
All right. Well, you should definitely follow on Instagram because it's public. Hard Rock Hotel, London, Ontario. It's at HRH London, Ontario, and it'll come up. And so I'm on Instagram as at Luca and Luca. And if I see somebody that I don't recognize, maybe just send me a DM that you heard about me from the podcast, and only then will I know
Yes.
that you are not a creeper. That's
Yes.
that's my promise to you, and then I'll add you, and then you
Yeah,
can follow me.
all 50 of my listeners.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe by then it could be like 60.
Yeah, you never know, honestly. Crazy story, and then I'll let you go. I was at an event in June here in Windsor, and I was leaving the event at the end of the night, and I was with Tyler, my sister, and another friend of ours. Shout out Adina. And we were leaving, and a complete stranger came up to me and like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, I listened to your podcast," and I was like, I have witnesses, so this is real, and tapped me on the shoulder, was like, I listen to your podcast. You ask really meaningful questions. Like, keep doing what you're doing. I was like gobsmacked. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
it was crazy. I was like,
Doesn't that
that was
make you
my
feel good though?
it was my sign saying like it's this thing is like keep doing it, you know? So
And
it was a really
sometimes
cool.
you only need that sign to happen once. Some people need that sign to happen all the time, but like
Yeah.
just to hear that once can really change you. You know, it's like if I can only change the life of one person, I've done my job, kind of thing. It's just
Yeah.
like
100%. Well, Luca, I want to thank you so much for being part of the podcast. It really means a lot to me for you to like take time out of your schedule to be part of the show and to just tell me all things about your life. Like I genuinely love when I have people who are like give like an emphatic yes to when I ask them. So I very much appreciate it and thank you.
I was honored that you asked, so you're welcome.
Thank you. And to anyone who's looking to reach out to me about design, you can contact me through my website at geographic.com. Please follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Yeah, leave a comment, write a review. I would love to hear your feedback. Rate me on Spotify, help me with the algorithm. My 60 followers, I would appreciate it. And once again, Luca, I just want to thank you for being part of the show, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Keep the
Bye.
vibes high.